Right, so on this program, this first block of code is taking an int and a double and calling and naming them. So for example, the int I've named example scores, and I've also assigned it a value of 0. For the double, I've named it add exam scores and equal it to 0. This code is changing the font color to once again add a little flair to our code, and it just happens to be red. It doesn't just happen to be, I chose red, but on this line we are printing off onto the console so our user can see, please enter 3 exam scores. And then after that, it's going to change the font back to white. And right here in this block of code, what's happening is an iteration. Let's look and see what we're iterating through. I have declared a int and I've named it I, and I've set it equal to 1. And then I've also said num exam scores, which is a variable I've declared up here, and I've assigned it to 0. Exam score is less than 3, add 1 to it. So basically what's happening, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this line says print on to the screen exam, and then it's going to be the exam number. And look right here how we have declared I equals 1. So this is going to say exam 1. And then right here is where it adds 1 to 1. So what happens is this line's going to run, it's going to say exam 1, this line's going to run, this line, and then this line is going to add 1 to this value. So it's going to be int I equals 2. And it'll run to this line again, and it'll be exam 2, and so forth. I have declared a variable double, and I've named it exam score, and this is what is going to be the user input. So let's say I'm the user and I wanted to input a exam score of 95. Then this code is going to read my number 95, is going to convert the string that my user has given me, that I have given the computer, and convert it to double, because I've declared it as double right here. We wouldn't have to do any converting if it was declared as a string. And then on this line, it's add exam scores. So if you'll look up here, I have declared exam scores and I've set it to a value of 0. So we're basically saying 0 plus equals is a short way of saying exam scores equals exam scores plus, I'm so sorry, okay. This is a shorthand way of saying add exam scores equals add exam scores plus exam score. So it's taking 0 and it's saying equal 0 plus what the user has given me, and I've given it a number of 95. And once this all goes through, you'll see that right here, every time, okay. So right here, I've declared a double and I've named it average exam scores. And this value holds this equation, which is going to equal a number value for me, specifically a double. It's adding exam scores, which I have received right here. And if you'll see, I've been since I've declared it up here, every new value that I get, when this like iterates through, it's going to be adding to it. It's going to store that new number right here. And then as I exit this for loop, I'm going to be using this value that I have been adding to within the loop, from within the loop, and I'm going to use it right here. And I'm going to divide it by 100, and then I'm going to divide this answer once again by num exam scores. And num exam scores is the number of exam scores. So if we'll look on this line right here, I guess the homework said ask the user for 3 exam scores once num exam scores is greater than this no longer is true, num scores is greater than 3, then I'm going to exit that for loop, and so this number should be 3. And the whole time that I'm doing mumbo jumbo in here, it's storing the new value up here, right here. So it's going to run through, and it's going to say, it's going to be adding 1 to it every time. This is a little bit of fun stuff I did. I made the foreground color I made the font dark red, and I made the background color cyan. And then this last line is saying, I want to print onto the screen. I want the user to see exam score average, and then I'm taking the average that I've received through this formula, and I'm going to make it into a percentage that has 0.00 after it, like 2 spaces after. I could put P3 and have 3 spaces after the decimal, but I only wanted 2. And as I've covered in the last video, this makes sure that I've looked through everything and I'm content with what I have, and I click a key and the program shuts down. So we'll go ahead and see what this looks like. My bad, I forgot to make this as startup program. Please enter 3 exam scores. That is right here. And what's happening is I made the font color red right here, and I'm printing this out right here. And if you'll remember, I was mentioning exam, and then I put a I down, which is this 1, and that's where this is coming from. So let's say exam score is 97. It's asking for another one because it's iterating through this until these are no longer true. Specifically, this one is no longer true. Num scores is greater than 3. So I'm going to put, let's say 45.6. We were having a bad day. And then another one, let's go ahead and put 90. And I put my fancy little alert down. You can see that little jewel right there. And I made the background a fancy color, and I made the font a fancy color. And this answer that you see was given through this equation, and I declared it in this variable, which I called right here as I was printing off to the user, and I made it into a percentage that had 2 decimal places after the decimal. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.